Hello everyone, welcome to Great Academy. In this session, I will talk about how to read, how to fetch, how to read the input coming from the keyboard into our program. Sir, we have already talked about one function that is called as printf function. Sir, what is the task of printf function? Sir, we have talked about that there is something called as input and there is something called as output. What is input? Sir, the data which is provided by the user to the program is said to be input, and the data which is provided by the program to the user is called as output. So for output, we have a function called as printf function. Sir, what is the task of printf function? What is the task of printf function? It used to print messages or something onto the output screen. So printf is related to output. But sir, every program, almost every program needs some data from the user. And from where user is supposed to provide the input? Okay, let's see. Sir, this is a computer. This is a keyboard. This is CPU. Somehow they are connected. Sir, we are providing, user is providing input through these keys, and whatever data user is providing, what we want to read that data into our program. That means what we want is, sir, we want to talk about the function called as scanf. Sir, what is the meaning of scan? What is the meaning of scan? Sir, to read or to fetch the data coming from a standard input device. Sir, what is a standard input device? Keyboard. Sir, what is the task of scanf? Scanf is used to read, used to take, used to fetch the data coming from the keyboard. Okay. Sir, what does F means? What does F means? Again, just like printf, F means format. That means we need to provide the format also. Okay. Sir, assume that sir, this is the keyboard. Let us suppose this is 1, 2, 3. Sir, the user is pressing 21. User is giving the input as 21. How this 21 is received from machine point of view? Sir, for a machine, it is nothing but some sequence of zeros and one. Okay, sir, even if the user press the key A, sir, again this A, sir, from machine point of view, this A is nothing but some sequence of 0 and 1. So, sir, no matter whatever we type from the keyboard, whatever user presses on the keyboard, whatever data user is trying to give from the keyboard, sir, for a machine, it is nothing but some sequence of 0 and 1. Just like printf, sir. In printf, what we used to provide? We used to provide the format specifier. Why we have format specifier? So that our program needs to know, our program must understand, the compiler must understand that in which format our program needs to handle particular type of data. we have already discussed about format specifier. Sir, by default, printf, whatever you give in double quotes, printf treat it as textual data. That is why format specifier came into picture. Sir, similarly, sir, when we talk about input, no matter whatever you provide input from the keyboard, from machine point of view, it is nothing but a sequence of 0 and 1. So we need to inform, we need to tell, see, some data is coming in the form of 0 and 1 into our program. But we need to inform, we need to tell the compiler, see, the data which is coming in the sequence of, as a sequence of 0 and 1 is an integer, or the data coming from the keyboard as a sequence of 0 and 1 is a character. Sir, of course we need to tell. Otherwise, how could our program understand that how to treat this data? Because for a machine, for a program, everything is nothing but a sequence of 0 and 1. That means, sir, how scanf used to work? Let's try to figure it out, and let's try to understand how we can provide input to our program using scanf. Let us suppose what we are interested in, sir. We are interested in fetching one integer value from keyboard. Okay. Sir, let me write a program. Simple program, even simplest program. Hash include stdio.h. Okay. Void main. Sir, what we are interested in? We wanted to take input. Sir, what is input? Some value, some data. Sir, where we can store a value? Sir, inside container, inside variable. What type of value we are interested in? Integer type. That is why, firstly, I have to take some integer. Sir, from this, what will happen? Inside memory, try to understand this. Sir, this is memory. Somewhere in memory, although there are many blocks, somewhere in memory, some block is allocated and the named identity is A. Sir, there must be some address of this location also. Yes, it is, let us suppose, 4192. Let us suppose the address is 4192. Okay, sir. Done. From this line, this will happen. Okay. Sir, what we are interested in? We want to enter some value inside this box. And from where that value is coming? Sir, that value is coming from the keyboard. Try to understand. Sir, there is a keyboard or separate keyboard. You can assume it is a separate keyboard also. Sir, we have a keyboard. This is the monitor screen. This is the CPU. Somehow they are connected. Okay, somehow they must be connected. I'm not interested in wiring. CPU, monitor, and a keyboard. Sir, user is providing input from this keyboard, and from this keyboard, the data is going through a wire inside the memory. Sir, the data, whatever data user is providing from this keyboard, that data is going through a wire into memory. But how a memory looks like? Sir, a memory looks like this. Two things we need to understand. First, whatever data we are providing from the keyboard, from machine point of view, it is nothing but a sequence of 0 and 1. That is why we need to inform, we need to tell that whatever data is coming in the form of 0 and 1, how our program wanted to read, how our program will deal, how our program will treat that data. That is why we need to provide format specifier. So, sir, I am using here a printf, enter a number. Let us talk about this message first. Sir, is it mandatory? Is it mandatory to do this? No. Is it mandatory to do this? No. You can directly write scanf. Sir, then why this printf? Sir, this is a good programming practice to make our program more user friendly. Sir, what do you mean by user friendly? Try to understand. Whenever we talked about any app, any application, I have already talked about Google Maps. Okay, let me take an example again. Sir, when we open Google Maps, there is something written as source and some space is given to you. There is something called as a destination and there is a space for you. Sir, why this text? Why this text is written? Is it mandatory? No. Let us assume you don't know anything about Google Maps and the very first time you open Google Maps, two text boxes will be displayed like this. How will you get to know? How will someone will get to know at the first time that what he is supposed to do? What to enter here? What to enter here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Array. You need to enter some string form. You need to enter something in a string form. Try to understand, sir. This text makes our program, our application user friendly. By looking at this text, someone get to know, oh, I need to enter the source. And similarly, from this text or from this message, someone get to know that I need to enter the destination. Please try to understand that. Sir. Let us suppose you make a program in C language. And that program is being used by, see, there are two things. One is user, one is programmer. Sir, it is used by someone in your family who don't know anything about programming. You make a program. What does this program supposed to do? It will take two inputs and return the sum. Okay. But when someone in your family is using this program, something is happening, that this cursor used to blink. How that member of your family get to know what is what is the task of this particular program, or what he or she is supposed to do? But if there will be a message like this, enter a number. By looking at this message, the user of your program, see, you are a programmer now and someone is using your program. But by this message, that someone will get to know what he or she is supposed to do. So, sir, is this printf mandatory? No. But it is a good programming practice to do something like this. Sir, this is only a message for the user of my program, so that he or she will get to know what he or she is supposed to do. That means, sir, done. Okay. Try to understand this. Okay, sir. So when this program will execute, let us suppose this is the monitor. Sir, when this line execute, what will happen? Sir, printf, the task of printf is enter a number. Okay, sir. Then we are using scanf %d. Sir, what we are telling by this %d? See, what is the task of scanf? Sir. The task of scanf is to read the data coming from the input. Try to understand. Sir, printf is over. Now scanf is working. Now scanf is executing and the cursor is here. The cursor is blinking. The cursor is blinking. Why the cursor is blinking? Because currently our program is running this instruction. Scanf. What is the task of scanf? Sir, scanf is waiting for something to become, for something coming from the keyboard. Sir, we informed scanf that whatever data coming from the keyboard, our program has to deal it in which format? %d. Sir, %d is the format specifier for integer. Okay, what we provided? That whatever data is coming from the keyboard is of type integer. Okay, sir, user pressed 21. User pressed 21. Okay, sir, some data is coming from keyboard. It must be stored somewhere. Okay, where we want it to store? Sir, by default, any memory location. But what we want? Sir, we want this 21 to be stored at this particular address. What we want? Whatever data is coming through the keyboard, it must be stored inside this box. So what we provide? Sir, you have to provide inside scanf, you need to tell that whatever data is coming from the keyboard, sir, in which format you are reading and where you want it to store. So what we need to give here? Sir, you need to provide address of the variable. Sir, what is this called? See, this is an operator and that is called as address of. What do we write? Address of the variable a. That means basically what we have provided? We have provided this 4192. So from scanf, please try to understand. Scanf used to take two things. Sir, the very first thing is because whatever data is coming through the keyboard, from machine point of view, it is nothing but a sequence of 0 and 1. So we need to tell in which format we are supposed to deal with this data. That is why the first argument for scanf is the format specifier. Now the data is coming and we need to store the data into memory. At which particular location? Sir, we wanted to store our data inside this A. Sir, what we need to provide? Just like blocks in society, sir, in memory we have various blocks and every block has some address. So what we are providing? See, what is this? This is a special operator called as address of operator. So when we put this ampersand, this is ampersand before this variable, what does that mean? We are talking about the address of this variable. That means we are saying whatever data coming through the keyboard, accept it or treat it in the form of integer. Our program will treat that data in the form of integer, and our program, inside our program, where it is supposed to be stored, sir, at this particular location. So what will happen? Sir, if let us suppose user pressed 21, then what will happen? Sir, 21 gets stored in the variable named A. Done. So this is how we can scan a value. Please think for a moment, note it down, as these are the basic foundation. You cannot create a building without basic foundation. So you need to understand printf and scanf. Okay. So sir, if I talk about scanf, two things. We provide two things to the scanf. The very first thing is format specifier. Whatever data is coming from the keyboard, in which format we want it to treat. Okay. And sir, the memory location, address where we wanted to store the data inside our program or inside memory of our program. Okay, sir. Let's see a program that will make use of input as well as output. That means we are supposed to read something from the keyboard, and then after reading, after storing, we need to print that data onto the output screen. Okay, sir. What we are interested in? First, we wanted to read a data. What is a data? Value. Where we can store a value? Sir, inside container. What is a container? Variable, named location. That means if I am interested in reading a integer value from a keyboard, what my program must have? Sir, one variable. Okay. So, hash include stdio.h void main. Let us create a variable. What will happen? Sir, inside memory, let us suppose this is memory and this is our block A or variable A with some address 4092. Okay, sir. Done, sir. Int A. Then, sir, what we want? We want to get a value from the user. What we want is, we want to read a value from the user. Let us suppose this is our monitor screen. Okay. Then again, user friendliness. I hope, sir, what message should we print? Sir, we need to print a message like this: enter a number. Sir, inside program, how to make this possible? Sir, if we want to display a message, use printf, and whatever you want, put it inside double quote as it is. Okay, sir. So, from this line, what will happen? Enter a number and the cursor will be here. What we want? Sir, what we want, that the user will provide some input. What should use? Sir, scanf. Okay. What type of data we are interested in? Integer. Sir, format specifier. And where we want to store that value coming from the user. Let us suppose user entered 4. Where I want to store this value? Sir, I want this value to go inside this box. So, what should we provide? Sir, address of our variable A. So, if user provided 4, then this 4 inside our program will be stored like this. Done. Okay. Now try to understand. Sir, I want my program. See, enter a number. User entered 4 and it press enter key. Only then this will be stored. Okay, sir. That means now the cursor is here. Okay. Try to understand. Sir. What I want is, I want my output to be like this. Entered number is 4. That means whatever user entered, my program will print like this, that the entered number is 4. If the user has pressed 5, then what will happen? Sir, 5 will be stored here and my program will print 5. Okay. Try to understand. Okay. Sir, in order to print this text, I can use printf as it is. Like printf entered number is. So, can I write entered number is 5 like this? No, sir. Why no? Sir, the output is same. No. Because if you write the code like this, and let us suppose the user entered 10, then what is the output of the code? Sir, user entered 10, even the stored value is 10, but because what you have written inside printf is enter number is 5. So, what is the output? Enter number is 5. Please try to understand. Sir, is this 5 always constant for, is this 5 is always constant for no matter how many times you run this program? No, sir. It may happen the first time you run this program and user entered 5. Then the output should be entered value is 5. Entered number is 5. And let us suppose the second time you execute this program, the user entered 21. Then what should be the output? Entered number is 21. So try to understand. Sir, do we want this 5 as a text? No. Sir. What we want here to be printed? Sir, we want here, what is to be printed here? Sir, the value inside a variable A. What we want? Sir, we want the value or content of variable A. Sir, what are the content of variable A? Integer type. That means what I need to do here, sir, proper use of format specifier. That means, sir, what we can do? Please try to understand this. Sir, we are only interested in printing some value in integer format. Sir, entered number is %d. Entered number is, try to understand this program again. Sir, let us suppose printf enter a number and user entered 21. This 21 gets stored here. Now what I want? I want entered number is %d. That means from this %d, compiler get to know that at current position of cursor, some value is to be printed. But from where compiler collect that value? Sir, from variable A. That is why after comma, what we are supposed to write? A. Now the program is perfectly fine. Sir, let us try to execute this program again. First of all, sir, printf will execute. Sir, enter a number and the cursor used to blink here. Why it is blinking? Because it is waiting for scanf. That means, sir, after this, after printf, the next line is scanf. What is the meaning of scanf? Read some value. That means our program is waiting for something to be coming from the keyboard. That is why the cursor is blinking. The cursor is waiting for some input to be coming from the keyboard. Okay. Sir, what we have mentioned, that whatever input is coming, it must be in integer format. Let us suppose user entered 6. Is it in integer format? Okay. Sir, scanf, the second argument we provided it %. That means we provided 4092. That means we are saying whatever input, whatever integer type input is coming, store it at this particular memory location. So scanf, using scanf, this will happen. Now printf, the task of printf. Try to understand. After 6, whenever you press enter, then only this will happen. Okay. That means the cursor is here. So printf, coming to printf, entered number is, this is in text form, so as it is, it will be printed. But whenever compiler look at %d, it says, see, some integer value is to be printed at current position of cursor. But from where we should collect the value? See, the value after comma. That means we are saying go at named location A, collect this value and print it here. Okay, so that is how scanning and printing is being done by this particular program. And you need to understand why this, sir. Why not we are writing 6? Because not every time the user will provide 6 now. If you write entered number is 6, then why you are reading value from the user? You are saying every time the user will enter 6. Arey, don't do that. If you write here 6 or any particular number, that means you have hard coded a value inside your program. So no matter whatever user will enter. Sir, are we interested in printing a constant value every time, a fixed value every time? No. We are interested in printing the content of a variable. Sir, we need to provide format specifier. Why? Because by default printf, in which format it used to print? Textual data. So That is the use of format specifier. So you need to understand how scanf used to work, I hope conceptual clarity is there regarding the function scanf. Sir, what does scanf does? Scanf is used to read the input coming from the keyboard. Scanf is used to take the input coming from the keyboard. Scanf is used to fetch the input coming from the keyboard. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Sir, whatever data coming from the keyboard for a machine, it is nothing but a sequence of 0 and 1. That is why we have already talked about it. That is why we need to provide format specifier for the data. That means we are saying that whatever sequence of 0 and 1 is coming from the keyboard, how our program will handle it. So the very first argument for scanf is format specifier. Okay, sir, some data is coming from the keyboard via wire and going inside memory. But what we want whatever data is coming, we want to store it at a particular address. That is why inside our program, inside scanf, what we provide? We used to provide the address of that variable, the address of that particular named identity at which we are interested in storing that value. So scanf, we provide two things. The very first thing is, sir, the format specifier, and the second thing is the address where we wanted to store that particular value. I hope things must be clear. So bye bye, take care.